Hello, and welcome to the Whispering Scientist, where curiosity wraps itself in calm and science whispers you gently to sleep. Tonight, we begin a quiet journey into a strange, invisible river that flows through your life every second, but rarely behaves the way it should. Time. We measure it, we chase it, we lose it, and sometimes we feel it slipping through our fingers like sand without ever seeing it. But here's the twist. Time, as you experience it, might not be time at all. Have you ever waited in a queue, eyes glued to the clock? Minutes stretch. Your thoughts grow loud. Every second feels like it takes 5. Now think of the last time you lost yourself in something. A book, a game, a conversation. You blinked, and 2 hours disappeared. That's the first mystery. Time doesn't always feel like it's moving at the same speed. And that's because it's not just measured by clocks, it's measured by your mind. Psychologists call it subjective time. It's the internal clock inside your brain. But unlike your wristwatch, it doesn't tick at a steady pace. It stretches, compresses, pauses, depending on where your attention goes. When you're bored, the brain turns inward. It notices each second as it crawls past, like a dripping tap you can't ignore. More awareness equals longer feeling, but when you're engaged, your attention is outside you, focused, flowing, and your inner clock? It stops keeping track. This is called the flow state, a term from psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. When you're in flow, time melts. You're so immersed in the moment, your brain doesn't bother to measure it. You could say time vanishes, but really, it's you who stops listening to the ticking. Let's now explore how memory silently bends your sense of time, even after the moment has passed. Have you ever noticed how a childhood summer felt long and full, yet a recent year flew by like a dream you can't quite remember? Here's why. Your brain records time not in hours or minutes, but in details and the density of memories. When you do something new, your brain works harder. It processes more information. It stores more frames. Later, when you recall that memory, it feels longer because there's more mental footage to replay. This is why your first day in a new job or school feels eternal, but your 100th day? Gone in a blink. Now let's bring emotion into the mix. Fear, excitement, joy, grief. They all change your perception of time. Imagine a car crash. People often say, everything happened in slow motion. Why? Because the brain switches to emergency recording mode. It collects more data per second. Later, when you remember it, it feels like time slowed down. But in reality, time didn't change. Your brain changed its camera speed. Even language affects how you feel time. In English, time is money. We spend time, waste time, save time. But some cultures view time differently. In Aymara, a language from South America, the past is spoken of as being in front, because it is known, seen. The future is behind, because it is unknown, hidden. Isn't that fascinating? Your sense of direction in time depends on how your language maps reality. So what is time? Maybe it's not a machine, not a ticking clock, not even a line. Maybe time is a feeling, one that stretches when you're alive in the moment and disappears when you're not. As you rest tonight, let your breath become your clock. Slow, gentle. Forget the minutes. Forget the hours. Just feel this moment. Because maybe the most real form of time is now.
Why does time speed up sometimes? Why do weeks fly past unnoticed, while some hours feel eternal? The answer might surprise you, It's not your clock that changes, it's your brain. Let's explore. Imagine you're on vacation. Each day is full of new smells, sights, streets, and strangers. At the time, it might feel like the trip is flying by. But when you return home, something odd happens. You look back, and it feels like you were gone a long time. That's not an illusion. It's how memory works. Your brain records time based on change and novelty. The more new experiences you have in a day, the longer that day will feel in memory. This is why childhood felt so slow. When you're a child, everything is fresh. First day of school, first time tasting chocolate, first scraped knee, first snowflake. Your brain is recording intensely, and that makes time feel full. But as we age, life becomes more repetitive. You've tasted chocolate hundreds of times. You've seen snow. You've tied your shoes 1,000 mornings. Routine compresses memory, and when memories are compressed, time feels shorter. Let's take another example. Driving to a new place versus driving home. The first trip feels longer. You're alert, scanning signs, watching GPS, making decisions. Your brain is active, recording everything. But the way back, faster, because your brain already knows what to expect. It doesn't bother recording again. This is called the return trip effect. Same distance, same time, very different feeling. Now let's bring in emotion. Strong emotions stretch time. Think of a moment of danger, like nearly falling or a car suddenly braking. In that instant, time feels like it slows down. Why? Because your brain switches into survival mode, recording everything in high resolution. This denser memory creates the illusion that the moment lasted longer. So, fear stretches time. But joy? Joy compresses it. A perfect evening, laughing with a friend disappears before you know it. Later you think, where did the time go? Even expectation changes time. Waiting in a doctor's office feels endless. But playing your favorite game for 30 minutes? Gone in a blink. That's because boredom makes us more aware of time. Your internal clock ticks louder when you have nothing to do. Meanwhile, when you're fully engaged, your brain forgets to watch the clock. So how do we slow down time again? Not by stopping the clock, but by making time memorable again. Try this. Break routines. Travel a new route. Learn a small new skill. Eat something you've never tasted. Talk to someone unexpected. Your brain will thank you, and time will stretch gently, like it did when you were young. Because in the end, time is not measured by seconds. It's measured by moments that matter. We've seen how novelty, memory, and emotion affect time's flow. But now let's dive even deeper into the invisible clock ticking inside your body, in the strange illusions it creates, even while you sleep. Every living being has something called a biological clock. In humans, it's known as the circadian rhythm, a 24-hour internal timer that regulates sleep, energy, hormones, and even mood. It's why we feel sleepy at night and alert during the day, well, most days. But here's the catch. Your circadian rhythm doesn't tell time like a clock on the wall. It feels time through light, temperature, and even routine. You might have noticed when you travel across time zones, you feel off, groggy, mismatched, disconnected from your own day. That's your internal clock being confused. Jet lag is simply your brain's way of saying, wait, it's light outside, but I thought it was bedtime. This biological lag is proof that time, as we feel it, is deeply tied to rhythm, not just numbers. Let's take a closer look at something even stranger. The snooze button paradox. You know that feeling when you hit snooze, fall back asleep, and it feels like you slept for hours, but it was just 9 minutes or worse. You think you've slept for hours, but only 20 minutes passed. This happens because your brain during fragmented sleep loses track of time completely. It stops counting. In deep sleep, time disappears. That's why you can fall asleep at 11 p.m. and suddenly wake up at 7 a.m. with no sense of time passing at all. Now contrast that with insomnia. You lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, watching minutes crawl past. Each second feels magnified. Every sound is louder, every thought is sharper. Why? Because you're hyper aware. Your brain is back in counting mode. It notices every tick of the clock. So even though it's the same number of minutes, time feels longer.
Our endless desire to measure, track, and control it. Why do we build clocks? Why do we divide our days into hours and minutes? Why does it matter if we're on time or late? Tonight, let's explore how humans went from watching shadows to split seconds, and what that tells us about our own nature. Before smartphones and smartwatches, before ticking clocks and digital timers, there was just the sky. Ancient humans told time by observing the stars, noticing when the sun rose, when birds stopped singing, when shadows grew long. The very first clock was the horizon, and yet, that was enough. Farmers planted crops by the position of the sun. Sailors navigated oceans using the stars. Religious rituals aligned with moon cycles. Time was cosmic, vast, and poetic. But soon, something changed. As civilizations grew, so did the need for order. Enter the Egyptians. Around 1500 BCE, they built sundials, tall obelisks casting shadows that moved with the sun. For the first time, daylight was divided into parts. Hours were born. And although an hour in summer was longer than in winter, it was a start, a way to organize life, work, worship. This was no longer the poetry of the sky. This was human structure. Then came water clocks, used by the Greeks, Babylonians, and Chinese. These clever devices measured time by the steady drip of water from one container to another. No sun required. Time could now be measured at night, in the dark, indoors. During cloudy days, it was revolutionary. Suddenly, time wasn't just something you noticed. It was something you could count. But counting wasn't enough. We wanted precision. By the Middle Ages, Europe saw the rise of mechanical clocks, giant gears, and bells placed inside churches. They didn't have faces or numbers. They simply rang. The bells weren't just for monks to pray, they were for cities to function. Markets opened at the bell. Workers reported at the bell. Time had become shared. For the first time in human history, everyone began living by the same clock. Then came the pendulum. In the 17th century, a Dutch scientist named Christian Huygens invented the first accurate pendulum clock. It was beautiful, rhythmic, reliable. While earlier clocks drifted by hours, the pendulum reduced the error to just minutes a day. Now, people could coordinate with astonishing precision. A ship could leave port at exactly 6 a.m. A city bell could chime in harmony with one 50 miles away. It was the first whisper of our modern world, one shaped not by sunrise but by the ticking of machines. And here's the paradox. As our ability to measure time improved, our relationship with it became more anxious. When the sun tells time, you wait. When your body tells time, you sleep when tired. But when a clock tells time, you must follow. Be on time. Don't waste time. Race the deadline. In trying to control time, we also surrender to it. So ask yourself, are you living by time or within it? Are you chasing minutes or noticing moments? Because while clocks may divide our days, only you can decide what makes those days feel alive. Let that be your compass. We've seen how sundials and bells brought time into cities, but now we move into a world of even greater precision. A world where every second must be exact. Let's talk about what happened after pendulum clocks. Because humanity's obsession with time didn't stop there. It only got more intense. In the 18th century, one question plagued sailors. How do we know where we are on the sea? To measure longitude, they needed to know the exact time at home, even while drifting in the middle of an ocean. Enter John Harrison, a humble English carpenter who spent decades perfecting marine chronometers. These were clocks so stable they could keep time on rocking ships. His fourth model, H4, changed navigation forever. Suddenly, sailors weren't just watching the stars, they were checking their watches. Then came the 20th century, and with it, the era of quartz. Quartz crystals, when struck with electricity, vibrate at a steady frequency. These vibrations became the heartbeat of digital clocks. Precise, portable, affordable, trains ran on time, airplanes landed on schedule, global communication synced effortlessly. Yet again, we slice time into smaller and sharper pieces. But even quartz has limits. Enter the age of atomic clocks. These devices don't use springs or crystals. They use atoms. Specifically, cesium atoms, which vibrate at a precise rate, 9,192,631,770 times per second. That number? It's the official definition of 1 second today. These clocks are so accurate, they wouldn't lose even a second in millions of years. They're used to control GPS satellites, internet time, banking, the entire modern world. We've talked about sundials, pendulums, and quartz crystals. But what if I told you that everything you think you know about time, its speed, its flow, its fairness, isn't quite true? It all changed with one man, Albert Einstein. In 1905, a 26-year-old patent clerk working in Switzerland published a paper that would change the universe forever. Its title? On the Electrodynamics of Moving Bodies. But we know it today by a much simpler name, special relativity. One of the most shocking ideas inside this theory was, time is not absolute. Let that sink in. Einstein showed that time doesn't tick the same for everyone, everywhere. Instead, it's flexible. It depends on how fast you're moving. This is called time dilation. Here's how it works. Imagine two twins. One boards a spaceship and travels near the speed of light. The other stays on Earth. When the space traveler returns, they will have aged less than the twin who stayed behind. Yes, really. The faster you move through space, the slower time flows for you. Not a metaphor, not science fiction. It's been confirmed with atomic clocks on airplanes and satellites. Time is not universal. It stretches and compresses depending on your speed. But Einstein didn't stop there. In 1915, he published his next theory, general relativity. This time, he added gravity to the picture. And here's where things get wild. Mass bends space. And where space bends, time bends too. Imagine placing a bowling ball on a trampoline. It sinks the fabric downward. Now roll a marble nearby. It curves toward the ball. That's gravity. The marble isn't being pulled by some invisible force. It's simply following the curve of the trampoline. Now replace the trampoline with space-time. Replace the ball with a planet or star. And the marble? That's you, me, and time itself. Near massive objects, like black holes, time flows slower. This has been proven. In fact, astronauts aboard GPS satellites experience time slightly faster than we do on Earth, because they're farther from Earth's mass. Without correcting for this effect, your GPS location would be off by miles within minutes. Einstein's equations don't just describe the universe, they help you find your pizza delivery address. The deeper truth is both haunting and beautiful. Time is not a river that flows equally for all. It's a fabric, bending and stretching with mass, motion, and gravity. Einstein didn't destroy Newton's version of time. He completed it. He gave us a fuller, richer, stranger universe. But with this new understanding comes a quiet question. If time bends, can it break? Let's ask the question that has haunted philosophers and physicists for centuries. Can time go backward? We live in a world where time only moves forward. Day becomes night. A child grows into an adult. Memories stack behind us, never ahead. This is called the arrow of time, and it seems unbreakable. But science whispers something strange. The laws of physics don't actually require time to flow one way. In the equations that govern motion, gravity, and electromagnetism, there's no preference for past or future. If you filmed a planet orbiting a star and played it in reverse, the laws of physics wouldn't object. So why, in our everyday lives, does time feel like a one-way street? The answer may lie in a single word: entropy. Entropy is the measure of disorder in a system. Think of it this way: drop a glass. It shatters. You never see the shards leap back into your hand. Why? Because the universe moves toward more disorder, not less. That's entropy. And it gives time a direction. The past is more ordered. The future is more chaotic. That's why we remember yesterday, but not tomorrow. Still, at the level of atoms, time seems more flexible. In quantum physics, particles can move in strange, uncertain ways. They don't always follow our neat human timelines. There are even theories, still debated, that allow for tiny loops in time. Could we one day build a time machine? Perhaps. But for now, time remains a current we sail on, not a path we walk backward. And maybe that's okay, because the beauty of time is not in reversing it, but in learning how to be present within it.
We've wandered from sundials to Einstein, from ticking clocks to atomic vibrations. But now we come to the heart of it all. Not what time is, but what it means to live within it. Because for all our science, for all our satellites and formulas, there's one truth we cannot ignore. Time is not just physical. Time is personal. We don't experience time like a scientist. We feel it like a storyteller. Think of your life not as a list of seconds, but as a collection of moments. The smell of rain on warm concrete, the smile of a stranger on a cold morning, the silence just before someone says, "I love you." These moments have no clock, and yet they define everything. You don't remember your life in perfect order. You remember it in emotion, in color, in meaning. And that's the thing. Our brains aren't built to track time accurately. They distort, skip, stretch, and shrink it constantly. A boring day at work feels eternal. A joyful hour with a loved one disappears like mist. Why? Because your mind doesn't count seconds, it counts significance. It stores more data during new, intense, or emotional experiences. That's why childhood summers feel longer, why trauma can feel endless, and why falling in love feels timeless. In fact, neuroscientists say that time perception is more about attention than actual time. When you're present, truly present, time slows down. That's the flow state artists and athletes describe, where hours pass in minutes or minutes feel like hours, depending on your focus. And it's beautiful, but also fragile, because modern life pulls us away into screens, notifications, schedules. We've traded presence for productivity. But here's the quiet secret: time isn't what we lose, time is what we fill. And how you fill your time, what you notice, cherish, remember, becomes your life. No scientist, no clock, no theory can tell you how to live a good minute. Only you can do that. So, what if we stopped racing time and started dancing with it? What if the goal wasn't to manage time, but to meet it, moment by moment, to greet each second as a guest, not a deadline? In the end, time is a mirror. It shows you what you value. If it feels like it's flying, ask why. If it feels like it's stuck, ask what you're waiting for. Because time doesn't change. You do. And in that change is your entire story. So tonight, as you lie back and let sleep carry you, remember, you are not just passing through time. You are shaping it. Every breath, every memory, every quiet second under the stars. It's all yours. And it's all now. And so, dear listener, we return to where we began, not with numbers, but with a feeling. Time, that quiet river, has carried us from the ticking of ancient clocks to the bending of space around stars. But more than anything, it has brought us here, to this moment. You, now. In the noise of life, we forget the power of a second. But seconds are not small. They are the seeds of change, the spark of laughter, the breath between thoughts. A single second can begin a journey or end an era. And the best part? You don't need to chase it. Time comes to you, gently, always. So perhaps we shouldn't ask, where did the time go? But rather, where did I go with it? Did I create something? Did I love? Did I rest? Did I truly live this moment? Because when we pay attention, even the quietest second can feel like an eternity. As you close your eyes tonight, let time become soft. Let go of deadlines. Let go of the rush. There is no late hour in dreams, no ticking clock in peace. Only the soft whisper and hum of time holding you like a lullaby. And if you remember nothing else from tonight's journey, remember this: time doesn't pass, it stays where you are present. Thank you for traveling with me. Until next time, sleep well, thinker of stars. Dream slow. We've measured time, bent it, felt it, lived it. But now, let's ask the question that whispers beneath every tick. Does time exist? If no one is there to experience it, think for a moment. If a tree falls in a forest and no one hears it, does it make a sound? Now, ask this. If nothing observes time, does it still flow? Is time an objective force that runs regardless of us? Or is it a product of consciousness? This isn't just a poetic musing. It's a real debate in physics and philosophy. In classical physics, time is assumed to exist independently, like a clock ticking in the background of the universe. But some modern physicists disagree. They argue that time is not a backdrop, but a relationship between events, only meaningful when something changes and someone notices. In fact, at the quantum level, some equations describing the universe don't even include time. The universe just is, a complete, static whole. No past, no future, just now. This idea is called the block universe theory. It suggests that all moments, past, present, future, already exist, and our consciousness simply moves through them like a flashlight scanning a film reel. This brings us to the role of the observer. In quantum physics, reality behaves differently depending on whether it's being measured. Electrons don't choose a position until we look at them. So could time itself also depend on us? Is the ticking of a clock something real, or something we create to make sense of change? Even in neuroscience, time perception is blurry. When we sleep, dream, meditate, or experience trauma, our sense of time can completely fall apart. Minutes feel like hours. Years pass in a blink. So where is time then? In the clock or in the mind? Some philosophers say time is a mental construct, a tool we use to link moments, build memory, and plan action. Without memory, there is no past. Without expectation, no future. In this view, time only exists because we have awareness. We are not just in time, we are its creators. And yet, the universe was here before us. Stars were born and died before any eye watched the sky. The earth spun for billions of years before the first human marked a shadow on stone. So maybe time does exist independently, but our experience of it is something deeply human. Fluid, emotional, unreliable, like trying to hold water in our hands. Time may be objective in equations, but it's deeply subjective in our hearts. It's the difference between 5 minutes and 5 minutes with someone you love. Same number, different universe. In our next chapter, we'll ask a more daring question. Could there be a place or a state of being where time disappears completely? Imagine a place, or perhaps a state of mind, where time simply doesn't exist. No ticking, no counting, no before or after, just being. Can such a place exist? Some say we visit it every night. During deep sleep, the brain enters a state of profound stillness, no dreams, no awareness of passing moments. You close your eyes at midnight, open them at dawn, and it feels like no time passed at all. Where did those hours go? They didn't move forward, they simply vanished. Meditation offers a similar escape. When practiced deeply, the sense of self fades, and with it, the awareness of time. Monks speak of moments that feel infinite, where there is no rush, no past, no expectation of future, only presence, only now. Even in science, the idea of a timeless state is taken seriously. Some theories suggest that before the Big Bang, time didn't exist. There was no before, just a singularity of potential. No seconds to tick, no space to move, only possibility, waiting for a universe to begin. In moments of great awe, the birth of a child, a brush with death, a sunset that steals your breath, time can feel like it. Stops. You're no longer a watcher of the clock. You are the moment itself, whole, still, free. Perhaps the deepest truth about time isn't how it moves, but when it pauses. In those pauses, we meet something beyond science, beyond measurement. We meet ourselves, not as creatures running out of time, but as beings made of it. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by hours, deadlines, or days slipping by, close your eyes, take a breath, and remember, the quietest place in the universe is not in space. It's inside a moment where time disappears. Final breathtaking question emerges. Will time ever come to an end? It sounds impossible. Time feels eternal. It always was. It always will be. Right? Maybe not. Because some scientists believe there may come a point, perhaps billions or trillions of years from now, when time simply stops. Let's begin at the edge of what we know: black holes. These cosmic giants, born from collapsed stars, swallow everything, not just matter and light, but even time itself. Inside a black hole, space and time twist into a singularity, a place where the laws of physics break down and time becomes meaningless. To an outside observer, you'd appear frozen at the edge, never fully falling in. But from your own perspective, you'd plunge toward the center, and the rest of the universe would seem to race ahead and fast forward. Time behaves strangely near black holes. And where it behaves strangely, it's fair to ask, could it break completely? Now let's look forward, far forward, into the fate of the universe. If the cosmos keeps expanding, and it is, then galaxies will drift apart, stars will burn out, and matter will decay. This is called the heat death of the universe, a time when everything is cold, spread out, and still, no stars, no light, no events, and if nothing happens, then what does time even mean? In that future, there are no clocks, because there are no changes to measure. In physics, time is often defined by change. If nothing changes, then time has no meaning. So if the universe reaches a point of complete stillness, absolute equilibrium, then time, as we know it, may simply fade away, not with a bang, but with a silence so deep it swallows even the ticking of reality. But this raises an even stranger idea. What if time has already ended? What if we only perceive its flow because we are conscious beings within a system playing out a frozen pattern? In some cosmological theories, the entire universe, past, present, and future, already exists like a completed painting. We just move through it frame by frame. And yet, there's beauty in this mystery. If time does have an end, it also means each moment is even more precious. It means your laughter, your breath, this quiet second right now. They are not infinite, they are rare. They are woven into the fabric of a universe that may someday stop weaving. But don't let that frighten you. Let it awaken you, because the gift of time is not how long it lasts, but that it happens at all, right here, right now, with you. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine waking from a dream so vivid you believed it was real, the places, the people, the minutes ticking by. Now ask yourself, what if this life is that kind of dream? What if time is not a force outside of you, but a story written by your own mind? In dreams, time flows strangely. Hours pass in seconds. Years are compressed into a blink. You move from one moment to the next, never questioning the clock, until you awaken. So how can we be sure we aren't dreaming now? Great thinkers from Plato to the Buddha to modern physicists have asked versions of this question. They suggest that what we call time might be a projection, a mental construct, an illusion created by consciousness so we can experience life one frame at a time. But even if that's true, does it make time less meaningful or more? Because if every moment is imagined, then every moment is also chosen, precious, alive. You are the dreamer and the dream. So let this final thought stay with you. Time isn't just something you live in, it's something you create, with memory, with emotion, with love. Perhaps the reason we chase time is because deep down, we know we are made of it, not seconds or hours, but stories, breath, awareness, presence. As you drift now into sleep, or sit quietly in the echo of this thought, know that you have touched something very rare tonight,
a soft truth hidden between heartbeats. That time may be a mystery, but you, dear thinker, are part of that mystery. And in that, there is beauty beyond all measure.